Well, I'm just in here with my son in my house, and he's got the way he plays with trains down on the ground, and it's just a giant mix of both Thomas and Chuggington and a few other toys thrown in. He's about 2 years and 2 months, and he shows quite an interesting way that he plays with all these different types of toys. He shows absolutely no respect for scale, and I'm sure many parents are going to relate to this. And also there's a diesel there, and he attaches tenders to diesels. Of course he loves to smash his trains up. I'm sure many parents could relate to seeing that as well. By watching him play, he often points out to me the troubles that some toys have on certain sets. And sure enough, Hank doesn't work properly on the diesel works. I don't know if it distracts from the enjoyment of playing, but he certainly finds out the models which work and don't work. But there's one thing that I've noticed that he's picked up between these two brands, the two big rival brands being Chuggers and Tomas, and that's the recognition of the names of these engines. The one thing which has surprised me is that he rarely comes in and plays the toys with sound buttons. Oh no, it doesn't fit, does it?
He's up there.
He's up there, alright. He doesn't fit underneath, but he'll go on top. Doesn't fit either, does he? What I'm going to do is pick up trains from both the Chuggington and Tomas brands, and let's just see how he goes at naming them. Well, I'm going to kick off with the one I know that is his favourite. Who's this? Good boy, Diesel 10. Who's that one there? Do you know the name? Who's that? Who's that one?
Tren.
Good boy, that's Thomas, alright. Who's that? Diesel. Took a while. We've got there, Diesel. Now this is one that he's just had bought for him. Let's try this one. Who's that?
Hank.
Good boy, Hank. He's a fine looking engine as well. I've got to say I'm very impressed with these newer take-and plays. Okay, I'm going to pick off one which I think he knows. It's the one that he seems to play with a lot. Who's this? Who is it?
Who's it? Coco.
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 Good boy, we got there. Coco got in. Need to pick off another chugger that I think he knows. Who's this?
Sissy.
What's the name of this one? Who's that? Who is it? What's his name? What's his name? I'm going to pass that one as a pass. But boy, doing some destruction there.
Give me.
Let me just try
Give me.
a newer one. Who's this?
Bill.
Good boy. Well done, Belle. Well, he's just picked up a chugger. What's the name of this one? What's his name? What's the name?
British.
Brewster. Well done.
Well done.
We've got Brewster. Let's see how he goes with this one. Who's this?
Sissy.
Do you know that one?
No one. Good. Here.
Do you know who that is? No. Apart from that one, I think it's Oldham. Even I'm having trouble with that one. Let me try this one. Who's this one? Who's that?
Meg.
Who?
Meg.
Mavis. Good boy. Who's this? Who's that one? Who is it? Do you know that one? What's his name?
Name.
What's his name?
Name.
Harrison. No, didn't pick up that one. Try this one. Who's this? Who's that? Who's that one? Who?
Let's get to work.
Yeah, the button's there, but what's his name? No. Dunbar. Dunbar. Who is it? Who is it?
Dumba.
Good boy. But we're not remembering this name, are we?
Good job, Chuggers.
This might be a challenge for him because it's a challenge for me. Who's this? Who's that one?
No. Am I?
Who is it?
Am I?
Who is it? Who's that?
Am I?
Do you know that one?
Am I?
I know he's yours. Who is it?
Nail.
Diesel.
Zero.
Isn't that Dart?
That. Zero.
Yes, he's connected to him. We know that. Who's this one? Who's that then? Who's that?
Ding.
Good boy. He knows Den, but he hasn't picked up on Dart yet.
Ding. You there.
Who's this?
Pink.
Good boy, Flynn. He's pretty easy to pick, isn't he? He's so different to the others. I'm going to be a bit tricky here and go back on one. Who's this? Who's that? Who's that? Who is it? What's his name? What's his name? What's his name, do you know? Okay. Let's go for an old and well forgotten classic character, and there's a bit of a mystery why he's missing in action. But he's not missing in action in our house. Who's that?
Duck.
Oh, good boy, Duck. Not easy being green, is it, Duck? Now, I've just found two new chuggers in the stores. Now, my daughter knows about these two and the fact that they work together, and a bit like the Mighty Mac, I think, of the Chuggington world. Who are these? Who's that? Who is it?
Hey.
Who is it?
Hey.
Who is it? Do you know that one?
Hey.
They're very easy names.
Nail.
Who are you looking at? Who is it? Oh, okay. Who's that? No.
No.
You got the name there or not? Do you know the name of that one? What are the names on the back here? Do you know the names? Who's this red one? Who's that?
Hey. Did
Choo-choo. I know it's a choo-choo. Who's this? Who's that?
Hey.
Who's that?
Hey.
It's interesting, he just doesn't seem to pick up on the Chuggington names like he has with the Thomas ones. Let's give him a quite a difficult Thomas challenge. Yes, it's a choo-choo, but what's the choo-choo's name? Do you know the name of that one? That one is called Toot. Toot.
Hoot.
And that one is Hoot. Hoot. Okay, I'm going to have to check before I look at this one because I don't know myself. Okay. Who's this? Who's that? Who's that one?
No. Okay.
Who's it? Well, who's okay? Who's this? Who's that? Ferdinand. Good. We just got there. Ferdinand. It's a difficult one to remember. Let me try another difficult and strange Thomas one. Who's that one? Who's that?
Mama.
Oh, good boy, Mighty Mac. But I can never tell one end from the other, to be honest. He certainly shows a lot of interest in the chuggers and the Thomas toys, and what I find is he just doesn't pick up on the names of the chuggers like he does with the Thomas ones. Let's try this one. Who's that?
Hello.
Who is it?
Hello.
You know that one?
Hello. Nope.
We picked up a few chuggers' names, but really not as many as we should. I think a lot to do with name recognition comes down to having a good, simple and catchy name. And we'll try this one again. I know it's one of his favourites, but here we are. Who's this? Who is it?
Coco.
Good boy, Coco. Let me try this one. He's starting to get a bit tired, so I might just get this as the last one. Who's that one? Who's that?
Banana.
Oh, good boy, Spencer. So I'm wondering what other parents have noticed the name pickups and the different way children learn names and pick up names. And he's only just starting to remember words and say words, remember names. But I noticed with the Thomas toys, he really has no trouble in remembering a lot of those names. He has trouble with some of those twin type toys, but generally he seems to pick them off and learn them really fast. Certainly getting excited with Hoot and Toot. Hoot and Toot. Well, it's another day and I've rejigged all the toys, and I've also introduced a Chuggington set into my son's play area. And he's really latched onto this cleaning area of the trains. It's where Wilson would normally get a wash, but we can see it looks like Gordon's getting a wash instead. And for him, he doesn't see this as rival brands, although going by that bash, it looks like it is. He sees this just as another new train set that he can play with. It looks like Gordon's just given the chuggers a hell of a whack. Oh, chuggers are back on track. There they go. Oh, it's time for Diesel 10 to have a wash. And he loves to play with both scales of Diesel 10. It'll be interesting to see how long he holds interest in this new train set. It looks like that Hank's getting a wash now. I like the way he's got Diesel 10 looking commandingly over Chuggington. Here he goes, he's trying with the interactive chugger on this track, and I know it actually doesn't work. Let's see how he goes with it. Try it again. Try it again. Try the chugger again.
No.
No. No. He's worked out it doesn't work on this track. He certainly likes this wash area on this track. How about Diesel 10? I learned lots of stuff just watching my son play with these train sets, and it really helps me dictate what I'm going to say in my reviews, because he gives me an insight into these toys that I'll never be able to perceive. There are two Thomas characters that he has trouble pulling apart or identifying, and I think that's still present today. Who's this one?
Edward.
Oh, good boy, that's Edward. And now for the next character. Who's that one?
Good.
Gordon, well done. He picked it off today. And there's one more that we used to identify by the special sounder that made in an episode. I wonder if he still remembers it. Who's this?
Sassy.
Oh, Rusty, you got the name. What about aww. Aww. Not ear. What happened to aww? They're Rusty from now on. And how about just a miscellaneous critter? Who's that?
Vlak.
truck. We haven't got the troublesome yet, but yep, that's a truck. And as I found out, he has trouble with these twin characters, and I have to check myself. Who's that?
Back.
Bash.
Back.
Dash.
Back.
So it's funny, he remembered who we spoke about yesterday. I think it was Bash that we spoke about yesterday. But he can't pull one from the other. I'm pretty sure this is a no-brainer for him. Who is that one?
Percy.
Oh, well done, Percy. I think he really likes this character. Who's this? Who's that one?
Donkey.
Oh,
Donkey.
well done, Rocky.
Okay.
Bit of an unusual one.
Okay.
Do you know who that one is then? Who's that?
Okay.
Who's that one?
Someone.
No, it doesn't pick up on these chuggers. Had trouble with this one yesterday. Let's try him today. Who's this?
It is.
Who's this one?
Then.
No, still getting mixed up. This is Dart. Dart.
Back.
He remembers Den all the time, but he can't remember Dart. And another fairly popular but unusual character in a sense. Who's that?
Hey.
Oh, good boy, Stanley.
Hey.
And you're probably wondering what this toy is doing in amongst his trains. Well, because he loves those Transformers videos on YouTube, he sits this in amongst the train set, and I dare say it's his version of what's going on in those videos. Well, it'll be interesting to see how he keys into this new Chuggington track system that he's got to play with, and maybe it will override his elaborate take and play setup. I dare say only time will tell.